Okay, let's take a look at problem 2. Given the graph of f of x shown at the left, is f of x a function, y or y not? So remember, what does it mean for a graph to be a function? We know it's a function if every x value has exactly one y value. And one way you can test that is by using the vertical line test. Now, in this graph, it's impossible to draw a vertical line anywhere and hit more than one point. Every time you draw a vertical line, you only are going to hit one point. So that means that yes, this is a function. All right, let's take a look at the next question. If f of x is a function, is it 1-to-1, y or y not? All right. So let's take a look at the graph again. So what it means when you ask if it's a 1-to-1 function, what you're asking is, does every x value have a unique y value? And that first one makes it a function. And what makes it 1-to-1 is, does every y value have a unique x value? And one way to determine that very quickly is by using the horizontal line test. So in the horizontal line test, we ask ourselves, if we draw a horizontal line, is it possible to hit more than one x value? And the answer is yes. Here are 3 x coordinates which have exactly the same y value. And so this is not 1-to-1. Why isn't it 1-to-1? Because it fails the horizontal line test. Because when you draw a horizontal line, it shows us that these 3 x values all have the same y value, meaning that it's not 1-to-1. All right, our next question, find f of 2. So to find f of 2, what this is asking us is, if we look at the graph and we look at x coordinate of 2, what's the y coordinate? So we see that this graph goes through 2, 0. So f of 2 is 0. For what value or values is f of x equal to 0? Remember, f of x stands for your y coordinate. So where does the graph have a y coordinate equal to 0? Well, it has a y coordinate equal to 0 here at -2, 0. It has a y coordinate equal to 0 here at 0, 0. And we already saw that it had a y coordinate equal to 0 at 2, 0. So the values for x are x is equal to -2, 0, and 2. Finally, what is the domain and range of f of x? So first, let's take a look at the domain. So for the domain, let's get some more room here. So for the domain, we want to look at the x-axis. Now, if we look at the x-axis, notice that on the left side, we have an arrow, meaning it's going to keep on going. And on the right side, we also have an arrow, meaning it's going to keep on going. So the domain is all real numbers. Let's take a look at the range. Now for the range, what we're looking at is the y values. So let's take a look at the y values here. So if we start on the y-axis, notice that it has an arrow, meaning it keeps on going. And if we look at the here, on the y-axis, it also has an arrow, meaning it keeps on going. And so we see that the range is also all real numbers. And so that's problem number 2.